legendary artist or band's career, celebrate a milestone music year, or a great artist achievement.
We look at the history, the interesting stories, the chart positions and awards, and of course play the great music from these artists from all over the world.
Join us for TC's Time Capsule on the Saturday Brekkie Show at 8 a.m. on RPP FM.
RPP, the voice of the Peninsula, 98.7 and 98.3 FM.
And our special guest, Mr. Apostolis Kasparidis, is live on RPP FM, the KK Factor, the Greek EuroBeat Show. Yasso Paul.
Yes, Roula, how are you?
I'm good. I had to say Paul because, you know, we've known you for so many years. It's always been Paul, Kaspar. That was it. It was Kaspar this, Kaspar that, Paul. And now it's Apostolis. We're going to talk about why you're changing your name and what's behind it, because it's a huge announcement, obviously. But first, I want to welcome you to the show and to see how you are and have you recovered from the amazing tour around Australia. And you went for the first time to Adelaide with the famous Kalimani. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. It was a lot of running around, but it was really good. The band was amazing. Playing with musicians of that level was an amazing experience in itself. And obviously being, you know, the opening act for such a huge performer was incredible.
How did you find Adelaide? Because it was the first time you ever went to Adelaide.
Yeah, really good. Nothing compares to the home ground, Melbourne.
Yes, us Melburnians, we love Melbourne, yep.
But Adelaide was definitely a close second. Very awesome. Loved it.
Yeah, the people there are beautiful. Look, all the Greeks around Australia are amazing people. They're all very different. And we've got our famous, from Greek music to the max, Mr. Jim Sakiris, that supports all our artists.
The best.
Whether they're from overseas or here, it's amazing what he does. And I always do shout outs to him because he's done amazing things for everybody. And in Adelaide, they announced, Iulia Kalemani had presented a gift to Mr. Sakiris from heaven to acknowledge the work that he put in and the Greek Music to the Max page, how it supported Kalimani. And that was, how great was that? You know, it was like one of our friends to be acknowledged and recognized for something that he does, that he just does for fun. And he's so humble. That's all it is. It's just for fun, and it's blown right out.
Well, it was, really well deserved. Jim's done heaps throughout the years. He was one of the first, you know, when social media first started becoming big, he was one of the first to really push Greek music here in Australia. So, well deserved.
Well deserved. Let's go on to, other than Kalimani, you have been, now you're a singer and a songwriter, but we're going to talk about that after with your name. So I just want to sort of stack back in time. You've been for years one of the resident singers at Kinisi track in Turak. Yep. Well, you're at the original Kinisi. I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah, I started there. That was my first gig, actually, my first Greek gig.
The first Greek gig. How was the first time you went on stage at Kinisi? And how did it
I was shaking like a leaf the first time. So how did it come about? I was singing at Vanilla. I was singing English at Vanilla at the acoustic nights they used to do there on Thursdays.
Yeah.
My papu had mentioned to Tangalakis that, you know, I used to sing Greek when I was a baby in my panes. But it had been a long time since I'd sung Greek. And then having done the gig at Vanilla, Nick Baltus, who's helped so many of us, including your daughter, Kalia. He's been an amazing mentor. I went up to him before the Greek show started with Antoni Lira at that time. And I'd spoken Greek to him, and I said, I love Sfakianaki, you know, I love, my dad used to listen to that, you know, a lot of those songs. And he said, well, you're Greek. You should come give Kinisi a go. We need a young local bloke if you're interested. And then I started I started looking back at some of the old songs I'd listened to as a kid. I grew up listening to, and it was difficult because I hadn't sung in so long. Difficult to kind of retain the lyrics, but it was really good. It's been an amazing journey with relearning Greek music.
Relearning Greek music. We've got to do a shout out to Mr. Tangalakis. He's given a lot of opportunity to a lot of local artists at his venues, and he's been operating. I think it's the longest of any venue in Australia. Kinisi's just been, from Lamia days. I remember Lamia days. My brother had his 21st there. It's a long time ago, right up until now, and it's been great for all the local artists to be able to give him a chance. So well done to him. And here you are today, touring around Australia with massive names. Josephine is another big name. Tell us about your tour with Josephine.
Amazing. I've opened twice for Josephine. And then the most recent tour was with I had just done Melbourne and Darwin. Kalimani was the first full tour. I've also done Makropoulo, Karafoti, Makidimaki, Dimitri Bassi. Off the top of my head. So and I got to say a big thank you to Kontangalakis. As you said, he's huge for the Greek scene. Without him, Kinisi is the last kind of stronghold of Greek music throughout Australia. I mean, there are casual nights throughout Australia in every state, but he's
little tavernas and little cafes and big cafes, but that ongoing, weekend after weekend, it's been Kinisi under Kontangalakis, and now we're on track. And I you mentioned my daughter, and I remember her saying to me one time, we tracked, she goes, that's probably the closest you'll get to being in Greece at their venue.
Absolutely.
Amazing. So tell me your highlight in your career. Now, this is we're not going to talk about the song just yet, okay? So just leading up to the song, because I want people to know who Paul Kasper is before we introduce Apostolis, and what your journey's been like. What do you remember? Any have you had any difficulties? What's some highlights to get you to where you are today?
Been a lot of highlights, especially recently, and definitely a lot of difficulties. I'll start with the highlights. So definitely Kalimani and all the other major artists that I've had the pleasure of opening for. I'd say the biggest highlight would have to be performing at Frondida. It was a very emotional performance. We did a lot of older songs, and then I ended up doing. It hasn't been released yet, but I've written a Zebekiko about Greek Australian metanastes, and we weren't gonna play it initially, but we ended up doing it as kind of an encore, and a lot of the residents there were very moved. A lot of them were very emotional, so it really solidified why I'm so passionate about Greek music, and it really reinforced my connection to my heritage.
Well done, Paul. It's a beautiful story, listening to you and listening to how you felt. Not everyone has that opportunity to do that, and to perform for such vulnerable people. And when you were saying that story from Dida, I kind of remembered Alzheimer's, and I remembered my children's grandma who had Alzheimer's, and I remember Carly had been singing to her and said, Mum, when I sung to her, she was actually calm. It calmed her, and it brought back when she was a young person. And when you were saying what you were saying, that whole conversation came back to my mind, and it's like how good that is. It's
so interesting you say that, because my yaya is a dementia sufferer. And it's insane that it's absolutely crazy that she'll forget, obviously it's part of it. She'll forget the most basic things, but she'll still remember lyrics to an old Dalara song or an old Kazanzidi song that she
Yeah,
used to
music
listen
does
to growing up.
something. It's
It
very
does.
powerful.
It's spiritual. It's beyond. Yeah, it's deeper than just your memory.
Okay, let's go since we're talking about Greek now.
Mm.
Tell me, I know you touched a little bit of where Greek had started, but I want you
Yeah.
to re-talk about it again and why you've changed your name now to Apostolis Kasparidis.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the natural kind of next step because while I did do English music and I still do, I've written a lot of English songs. I had to separate it. If I was more of a pop singer, Foreira, Joseph, down that, if I'd taken that path, then I probably could have gotten away with a more Western name. But I think I want to, since I am going a little bit more traditional, pop like or, it just felt natural to keep my Greek name. And also when I was on tour with Kalimani, she had introduced me as Apostolis Kasparidis, so I kind of said, okay, that's the song. That's it. Me βάφτισε ξανά η Kalimani,
That's it.
Yeah.
That is so good. Paul, I listened to your new song because I remember having a conversation with you about your name on social platforms, and it made sense to stick to Paul Kasper because that's what everybody knows. And when we had the little talk, and then I wanted to listen to your song, and I listened and visualized you and listening to how you sang, and it made so much sense. Apostolis Kasparidis. And I've got to say, and I know you're very humble, but I've got to say, at one stage I thought, oh my goodness, he sounds like George Paris. Like
He's
everyone's
amazing.
different, everyone's different, but you had this slight closeness to his voice. And I thought, oh, hang on, because George Paris also sings opera and he's multilingual. I think he sings in about 4 or 5 languages. And I thought, geez, when I listen to this song, and why I'm emphasizing is when we play the song, I want the audience to close their eyes and listen to the song and listen to your voice. And I'm thinking, I wonder if you could actually sing opera. Can you?
No, definitely not. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication to sing opera. But it might be the fact that I was kind of obsessed with vibrato at the time of recording that. So, when you go through different stages as a singer, you experiment with different parts of your voice. And I think my vibrato was very, it was very, I kind of had focused on that a lot at that stage. So it probably shone through more than anything else. And that's probably why you felt the operatic kind
of part. Writing songs, how did that all start? Because I'd spoken to another artist not long ago, and they said, some artists just sing songs. They don't have that ability to write a song. So people will write songs and they will sing it. But then you've got artists who, at a drop of a hat, something's come to their head and bang, they've got a lyric or they've got a chorus or a verse.
It's interesting. I wrote my first song at 9 years old. It was Greek. It was a little verse. But I assumed that, at let's say 5 years old, that all artists wrote their own songs. It was just when you say, when I listened to songs, greatest hits by Elvis, back then I assumed, Elvis wrote all of these. It's not the case, but I just felt that to be the natural progression of an artist and a singer. So I had, as I said, I just felt like that was natural. And I always felt like it was just something I would be able to do. I remember thinking back to when I started singing. I mean, I sang my first song when I was 3 years old, but I remember this distinctly at maybe about age 5 or 6. I remember hearing Plutarchos' voice and thinking, I could do that.
Wow.
And
Oh, wow.
it's interesting. I'm opening for Plutarco next in September. So I'm doing the whole tour. So I'm very, very proud to be able to open for the artist that essentially started everything for me. It's huge.
That's an honour. That's going to be
Yeah.
huge, Paul, and congratulations. It's well deserved. You've
Thank
sung
you.
and you've written English. You've sung and you've written Greek. You've chosen to release your first song, a Greek song. Why?
I mean, I have an album's worth of songs. I had the privilege of working with Dim Honos, who's an Aussie born, and he's one of the keyboard players for Thothoriferi. He was with him for a long time at Posidonio. He has played with a lot of different artists, but he's kind of, he's been one of the major success stories out of Australia for Greek music. So he had come here during COVID, and as I said, I had the pleasure of working with him, and this was the song that we had started working on before he left back for Greece. So it had taken a while. I guess, and I've spoken about this with your daughter plenty of times, it's sometimes you have to be ready, not just musically, not just vocally, you have to be ready as a person. And I felt like that took more time than anything else. So while I would have loved to just drop the whole album, I think given that was ready, I thought I'd kind of test the waters with it as well, instead of dropping everything at once, finding a system for myself to kind of release music and how I would go about promoting it. So yeah, this is in a sense, it's new to me, it's in a way an experiment as well, to see how I would go about releasing the next, 10, 15 songs.
What motivates you?
I spoke about the cultural influence and how much my heritage kind of means to me. And I think I've got a deep connection to Greek, even though I left it for a long time. And it's been difficult because I am Aussie born, and, I don't necessarily speak Greek as well as a native Greek, which is a given. It's easy to kind of feel like an imposter. But I have to remind myself that no, I do really have a deep connection to this music. My dad was a singer. He never really performed live, but he used to sing around the house. My papa used to play bouzouki and sing while he was making wine in his backyard. So
It was in the DNA.
it's in the DNA, and it's taken a while. As I said, I had that kind of imposter syndrome, but I'm proud of the fact that I have a different story to tell. I'm a Greek singer, but I'm an Aussie Greek singer, like your daughter, we're a different kind of breed. I think we feel it in a different way.
That's right.
And it's something to be proud of.
Well, we're proud of you. Everyone's proud of
Thank
you,
you.
as I'm proud of my daughter and all the other Australian-born Greeks who take that path and the route of becoming an artist. And it is hard work. It's a lot of hard
It is.
work, but it's got to be in your DNA. It's got to be in that passion of yours, and you've definitely got it. Paul, if
Thank you.
young person, because I'm mindful of time, we're running out of time. If a young person wanted to follow in your steps, because, there could be a young girl, a young guy looks at Paul and says, Apostolia, I want to be like him. What advice would you give them?
Look, I'm nothing yet, but I'd say block out all the noise, because you even see comments online. Greeks can be very critical. Everyone can, but I've found that Greeks can be very critical because it is such and it's understandable too, because they're so connected to the music, right? And they want it to be, they're kind of used to a certain way of doing things. But it takes time, and it'll take a little bit longer for us because we are we're not native. So yes, you have to kind of push through the negative comments at the beginning. I mean, I started, like I said to you, when I was 20 years old. So I was pretty khalya in my no, I wasn't that bad, but even my dad had said to me, like, you need to work on your profora. It's gonna be a lot more work for you than it would be for a native Greek. But you need to push through that, kind of like we spoke about what motivates you, find what it is that motivates you, hold on to it and push through all that negativity. And I think you, as an Aussie or as an American or as an outsider, will give something different to Greek music. You know, Greeks have a bit of xenomania, which is a positive too. We kind of feel insecure about, milao me profora, or whatever it might be, but they don't necessarily see it like that.
Wow. Thank you so much, Paul. And
Thank
when
you.
we go now onto your song, but before we do, can you tell me quickly about the lyrics of this song?
I guess this one's just a standard love song. It was a maggiore, so my brother played some chords on the piano. He's a muso as well, and the words just kind of came to me. So my songwriting process is kind of just, I'll let the song be what it needs to be. I don't kind of try and force it. If it goes in a certain direction, I'll follow it. You know, if I hear that initial inspiration, it might be piano, it might be guitar, it might be anything. I'll let it go where it needs to go. And that's where the song led me to. So
thank you so much, Paul. And thank you for coming on the KK Factor, the Greek EuroBeat Show on RPP FM. We're going to go on to your song, Then KANO PISO.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
Σαν αστέρι ήρθες στη ζωή μου κι από τότε απορώ πόσο ψηλά εμείς θα φτάσουμε στον ίδιο ουρανό κι απορώ αν είσαι εσύ το μέλλον μου κι αν θα φανεί απ' τις καρδιές μας το μέλλον της ζωής μας. Είμαι εδώ για πάντα, έλα πάρε με μαζί σου ως το τέλος, σε χρειάζομαι. Θα βάλω φωτιά στα μαλλιά, να σε κερδίσω. Ό,τι κι αν γίνει στην ζωή δεν κάνω πίσω. Ό,τι κι αν γίνει στη ζωή δεν κάνω πίσω. Σαν αστέρι ήρθες στην ζωή μου, αχ αστέρι τυχερό, μου άλλαξες τη ζωή στα κύματα. Και τώρα είμαι αλλιώς, ξέρω τώρα είσαι εσύ το μέλλον μου και εγώ που βγει θα είμαι κοντά σου. Σ' όλα τα δύσκολα σου είμαι εδώ για πάντα, έλα πάρε με μαζί σου ως το τέλος, σε χρειάζομαι. Θα βάλω φωτιά στα μαλλιά, να σε κερδίσω. Ό,τι κι αν γίνει στην ζωή δεν κάνω πίσω. Ό,τι κι αν γίνει στη ζωή δεν κάνω πίσω. Είμαι εδώ για πάντα, έλα πάρε με. Μαζί σου ως το τέλος, σε χρειάζομαι. Θα βάλω φωτιά στα μάτια, να σε κερδίσω. Κι αν γίνει στη ζωή δεν κάνω πίσω. Ό,τι κι αν γίνει στη ζωή δεν κάνω πίσω.
Okay, Paul, it's come to the end of the show now, so we can both wave. Thank you so very much, Paul.
Thank you so much for having me, Rula.
Say it again. I didn't catch that. Sorry, Paul.
Thank you so much for having me.
Φιλάκια. All the very best.
Φιλάκια, να είσαι καλά. Thank you. Love you. Bye. Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining me live today. And thank you to the Honourable Steve Dimopoulos. And thank you to our Apostolis Kasparidis. Follow him on Spotify and all his social platforms. You've been with RoulaKK, aka RoulaKK. Please follow me on all social media platforms. Private message me for any topics you'd like me to cover. Catch you next week, same time, same station. RPP FM, your Peninsular community radio station. Thank you for joining me live. Stay tuned for our next show right here on RPP FM. And don't forget to like and follow RPP FM, talkback interviews and more. Check out our website for all show details and more. And don't tune off because the entertainment continues right here on RPP FM 98.7, 98.3. Catch you guys all next week. Thank you.
News, music, sport, podcasts, interviews, the arts, all day, events, every day, specials, live streams, sponsors, news, music, sport, TV, interviews, the arts, events, specials, live